Also over the weekend, TikTok.
Oh, yes.
TikTok's going to get banned. Biden says, I'm not going to save TikTok. I'm going to save TikTok. Supreme Court says, good luck. You're on your own. We're not going to save TikTok. And then all of a sudden, on Saturday night, TikTok was supposed to go dark on Sunday night.
Mm-hmm.
On Saturday night, all of a sudden, TikTok goes dark.
Mm-hmm.
And the message is, sorry, everyone, TikTok's down. We're working with President Trump.
I saw that. I screenshot it. I tweeted it. Yep.
And give it about 12 hours. It's like, we're back. Trump saved us.
Yep. Just kidding.
And that happened fast. That happened over the weekend.
So what do you think happened?
Well, so one of President Trump's executive orders was to stay the ban on TikTok for 75 days.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched the little speech he did while he was signing the executive order. And he said, if without the United States, TikTok is worth zero.
Well, he also, in the same breath, he said it's also worth $1 trillion under his management.
If the United States saves TikTok, it's worth $1 trillion.
Yeah.
And if that's true, then why shouldn't the United States own half of TikTok?
That's what he said.
And he said it should be some sort of joint venture.
Mm-hmm.
Is the United States government going to own half of TikTok? Is that what he's trying to do?
I think this is a very convoluted situation.
Because, like, for example, Saudi Arabia and their public investment fund, they own shares of businesses and companies. The United States typically doesn't do that.
Yeah.
Is that the model he's trying to go?
Well, certainly if we look at the UAE and the Middle Eastern countries, I mean, a good example that comes right off the tip of my tongue is Formula One. Most people don't realize that Formula One's it is owned by Saudi, oil money. like don't be deceived.
Yeah, the public investment fund owns F1.
Yeah, completely, and totally, right. And so what most people don't realize is there are Live Golf, right?
Public investment fund,
but it's owned by but government entities have their hands in the pot.
Correct.
And so this is not a new precedent, right? We've seen this in multiple big countries that have deep pockets. They invest in technological infrastructure so that they can create whatever messaging or control mechanisms around it. So what you're insinuating, or you're asserting here rather, is that Trump is taking a page from that playbook and saying, we as a government have power. Should we as a government also own the technological infrastructure of communication for Americans? That, if you go to that level, it sounds like a scary proposition.
Yeah, I mean, historically, this is not something the United States government does.
No.
There's a separation between the government and business.
Or so they say, even though we know that AT&T, Verizon gives all their information to the NSA.
Correct.
We know this.
There is a clear web.
Oh, yeah.
But as far as the schematics of it, there is a separation.
Supposed to be.
Supposed to be.
No,
But
there is a
this
separation
is-
in documents.
Correct.
Yeah.
But this is insinuating, and that's all he said. This is insinuating that the United States wants to joint venture with TikTok because the value of TikTok predicates on the United States allowing it. It's kind of weird.
The whole situation is weird. Can we unpack a couple other pseudo facts or facts? Right, TikTok's owned by a different country, China. Right, there are Chinese hands in it. So let's say that. There is a lot of issues around the content on TikTok. Some people say it's the content of the trans. I don't think that's the biggest issue. Some of it say that it's propagandizing our children. I don't think that's the biggest issue. There's a lot of pro-Palestine content on TikTok, which a certain type of species, individuals, and people group doesn't like.
I saw the video that our friend James Lee did about the influence of the Israeli government and ADL into TikTok.
Oh, yeah.
Basically, they're saying that there is too big of a segment of the youth on TikTok siding with Palestine and being against us. Yes. You need to shut this down.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, they're shutting it down.
That, I think, is the true issue. I think that there is a certain small, highly small, a percentage of the world, people and species group, who says that this is anti their narrative. And so I feel like that type of influence and power is probably the biggest reason why TikTok needs to be shut down in America, because if I remember correctly, there was one lady from the ADL who did say this, that every hour that children watch TikTok, they increase their radicalization and their anti-Semitism by like 30% or something crap like this. I think even Nikki Haley said that, actually. And so maybe, just maybe, Matt, the real reason why TikTok was shut down is because the small hats don't like it.
But if the United States government is going to joint venture with TikTok, the U.S. government is going to own TikTok?
No. The small hats are going to own TikTok via the government, because the small hats also own the government.
TikTok, I believe TikTok should just be left alone, leave it the way it is, because I think it's a really interesting place. It's a different corner of the internet. There's things I like on it, I don't like on it. But again, if you believe in free speech, you're going to run into that. They are kind of a heavily censored place. I think they have to be.
They have to be.
Because there's so many people gunning for them at all times. And
so can I get your opinion on all this 140 million Americans who flocked to Little Red Book? Can I get your take on that? Was that not a psyop?
Yeah. Well, I think that's hilarious.
I was dying. And from the videos.
And I was on TikTok during the TikTok refugee phase where everyone was running away to Redbook and everyone's coming back to TikTok, posting about how good it is. And I'm like, dude, this is the biggest psyop ever.
Yeah.
They're trying to put out this narrative. And I think TikTok actually organized it.
Ooh.
I believe that I think Shu's like a really smart guy. And I think he's playing the game. He's like, if we amp up and we use algorithm to push the narrative that everyone's running to this Chinese app, people are like, oh no, we need to save it because we're going to lose everyone.
Oh.
I think it's all these different pieces. I think he is playing some sort of 3D chess. I think he's a smart guy. I do. And I think that's a part of it. I even think that when he shut it down early and he said, oh yeah, and because of President Trump, I think he did that on his own. It puts pressure on President Trump.
It's a 5D chess, man.
Yeah. If you shut it down a day early so that when the rally happens and all the Trump news happens leading up to the inauguration, he knew that that's what everyone is going to talk about.
Yes.
So you shut it down a day early, because if you do it the night before, TikTok
doesn't have enough time for the news to...
It'll get swarmed. It'll be taken over by the inauguration.
Yeah.
So you do it a day early, you shut it down, you say, because Trump's going to save us, and then it's like, here, Trump, balls in your court.
I mean, he gave him a silver platter to look good.
Yeah.
Like,
and
that
Trump goes, I'm going to do it because it was a win-win. And I think Shu's like orchestrating it. I think he did that.
So what you're saying is that Shu knew that this would be a great opportunity for Trump to look like a savior.
Correct.
And in doing so, be able to convert all these blue-haired sheepdogs who were on TikTok, go over to Little Red Book and have the anti-Semitic Chinese tell them that they don't want their trans shit in Little Red Book, go back to America. I love that psyop, by the way. The two funny, if I can just extract myself for a second, the two funniest themes of this TikTok refugee was, number one, all of the based Chinese people who were like, stop it. Get out of our Red Book. You guys and your mental illness, you're trans, you're cutting your dicks off. Get out of here. You guys are garbage. I was laughing so much about that. The second thing that made me just rafflecopter, roll on the floor laughing, was the other side of that, where Americans are going, China's so great. They can buy groceries. It's so much better than what I live in. I'm like, bro, this Little Red Book is highly censored. They're only going to show you the good living.
Yeah.
And so you have all these, and so, okay, let me bring it to what is my foundational, what did I get out of this? It's sad, actually, Matt. What I realized is we have hundreds of millions of Americans who are so easily mind controlled. And psyop, we had hundreds of millions of people going, TikTok's evil. I'm going to give all my data to China. Like you saw those and so they go over to China only to be blackpilled by Chinese. They're like, get that shit out of here. And now they're coming back and they're like, I'm this orphan. And then they're coming back. They're like, I wanted to give my data to China, but they're not. They're mean to me, even though their life is better. And
they want my data, just not the gay data.
Exactly. And so I have to believe, Matt. I have to believe there are literally tens of millions of Americans who are sitting in their houses right now going, I don't know if I should use TikTok or Redbook. Who do I hate the most? You're psyoped. You're a weak-minded individual. Like, bro, you are the... And I'm going to sound salty here for a second, but you're the reason why this country's failing. Because you allow...
Vivek.
You're
Tone it down there, Vivek.
I know. I mean, it's a good thing I wasn't part of the Doge Commission because then I'd get kicked out. But like, seriously, you're the reason why our society is so weak. You got psyoped by the man on the TV and the talking head that said, TikTok's bad. So you go over and then you proselytize. I'm going to give China my data. And then you go over there and then you get raped over there because they're like, we don't want your gay ass shit over here. And they said, you are the problem. You're a pawn in this massive chess game and everyone's playing you. You know what you should do? Buy Melania's Trump coin. Go do it. Lose your ass. Enjoy that. Like, it's disgusting, man.
In all fairness, Melania coin right now is so low that if you buy, you may actually win.
you might actually get a little bit of a pump.
You might get a little bit
Fair
of a
enough.
You may make 20-30% of your money.
Last thing I'll say. It just made me sad about Americans because they're that stupid.
I think that...
Don't you? I mean, come on, man.
I think that...
That make you depressed?
TikTok handled the situation phenomenally. I think they're coming out as a clear winner in this.
Oh, yeah.
I think that I saw that Mr. Beast is putting in an offer
to
buy it. Yeah. He gathered up a bunch of money and a bunch of billionaires to try to buy that.
Did you know that Mr. Beast has government contracts? Did you know this? Look it up, Will. I saw this the other day. Mr. Beast has government contracts, my friends. So don't be deceived. Mr. Beast is a tool of the game.
Which makes sense. If he buys it and they say it's a joint venture and the United States wants to own 50%, I don't know where TikTok goes. I think it's been interesting, fascinating. I think TikTok as a company, as an organization, they crushed it. I think they're doing the best they can. I do believe that. I think that TikTok is an interesting space. I think the people on TikTok are different than the people that are on X, that are different than the people on YouTube. It is its own community of people, and it's pretty based there.
Free Palestine.
Yeah, he has a contract or an agreement with the Pentagon.
Mr. Beast has an agreement with the Pentagon. What else do you need to know?
Supposedly for humanitarian projects.
Whatever, and to shill the trans guy.
Yes, to shill that worldview and that propaganda. Mr. Beast, you have failed us. You've sold out, brother.
Thanks for watching the clip. If you want to see the full episode, click here. If you want to see more clips, click here.